Cleopatra was born into a world of gold and danger, a realm of immense wealth and lurking threats. She was a princess of the Ptolemaic dynasty, Greek rulers of Egypt for centuries, a lineage that intertwined Greek culture with ancient Egyptian traditions. Alexandria, her home, was a city of splendor and learning, a vibrant hub of commerce and intellectual pursuit, drawing scholars and merchants from across the known world. But inside the palace, power was a deadly game, a constant struggle for dominance where alliances shifted like desert sands. Cleopatra watched her father, Ptolemy XII, struggle to keep his throne, constantly battling internal rivals and external pressures. He resorted to bribing Roman senators to stave off invasion, a costly and precarious strategy that highlighted Egypt's vulnerability. His weakness made him unpopular with his people, who yearned for a strong leader to restore Egypt's former glory. And even his own daughter Berenice seized the throne in his absence, a bold act of defiance that plunged the kingdom into further turmoil. When he returned with Roman soldiers, Berenice was executed, a swift and brutal end to her reign. It was a brutal lesson in family politics, a stark reminder of the ruthlessness required to survive in the royal court. Cleopatra learned early that survival demanded intelligence, ruthlessness and political skill, qualities she would hone throughout her life. She was educated by the best Greek tutors, receiving a comprehensive education in the arts and sciences. She was mastering philosophy, mathematics, and crucially, the Egyptian language, a skill rare among the Ptolemaic rulers. This set her apart, earning loyalty from her subjects that her Greek-speaking family never had, forging a deeper connection with the Egyptian people. As Rome's civil wars threatened Egypt, Cleopatra understood her kingdom's independence was fragile, hanging by a thread amidst the power struggles of the Roman Republic. She prepared not just to inherit a throne, but to fight for it, using her intellect, charm and will, recognizing that these were her most potent weapons. The world was changing, and Cleopatra was determined to shape her own destiny, refusing to be a mere pawn in the games of powerful men. She would become more than a bystander. She would become a force, a queen who would leave an indelible mark on history. The stage was set for a queen who would challenge empires, a woman whose name would echo through the ages. When her father, the Pharaoh, finally succumbed to his mortal end, the line of succession was thrown into turmoil. Cleopatra, a woman of immense intellect and ambition, was named co-ruler alongside her much younger brother, Ptolemy XIII, who was a mere 10 years old at the time. To solidify their claim to the throne, and in accordance with ancient Egyptian tradition, she was also forced to marry him. But the true power within the Egyptian court didn't reside with the boy king. It lay with his advisors, a cabal of shrewd and ambitious men who viewed Cleopatra as a significant threat to their own influence and plotted against her from the shadows. Manipulating the young Ptolemy, they skillfully turned her own brother against her, poisoning his mind with whispers of her ambition. They then seized control of the Egyptian army, effectively stripping Cleopatra of her military power and any means of defending her claim. With no other recourse and facing imminent danger, Cleopatra was forced into exile, fleeing the very land she was destined to rule. Undeterred by this setback, Cleopatra, with her unwavering resolve, began to raise a mercenary army in Syria, gathering loyal soldiers and resources, determined to reclaim her rightful place on the throne of Egypt. Meanwhile, the tumultuous Roman civil war, a conflict that threatened to engulf the entire Mediterranean world, spilled over into Egypt, further destabilizing the already fragile kingdom. Pompey the Great, a prominent figure in the Roman power struggle and now fleeing from Caesar, desperately sought refuge in Egypt, hoping to find sanctuary. Ptolemy's advisors, ever calculating and opportunistic, made a fatal decision. They murdered Pompey, believing it would curry favour with Caesar. However, they gravely misjudged Caesar's character and his sense of justice, failing to understand the Roman leader's values. Caesar, utterly appalled by this act of treachery and disrespect, decided to stay in Alexandria, determined to set things right. He summoned both Cleopatra and Ptolemy to his presence, seeking to resolve the ongoing civil war and restore order to the troubled kingdom. Cleopatra, however, found herself locked out of the city, denied entry by her brother's forces, and desperately needed a dramatic way to gain an audience with Caesar. Displaying her characteristic ingenuity and daring, she orchestrated a plan to have herself smuggled into the palace right under the noses of her enemies. Legend has it that she was rolled up inside a carpet, a gift seemingly intended for Caesar himself. This elaborate ruse allowed her to bypass the guards and gain direct access straight to Caesar's private chambers. This bold and audacious move, a testament to her cunning and determination, would irrevocably change the fate of Egypt and the course of the ancient world. Cleopatra's sheer audacity and unwavering spirit deeply impressed Caesar, who was known to admire courage and intellect. This encounter set the stage for a new and powerful alliance, one that would reshape the political landscape of the Mediterranean. The palace intrigue, once a local power struggle, had now escalated into a high-stakes game, with Rome itself as a major player. Cleopatra was more than ready to play this game, and she was determined to win, no matter the cost. The civil war for Egypt's very soul was about to reach its dramatic climax. The serpent on the throne was poised to strike with deadly precision. Cleopatra's legendary reign was just beginning, and her name would echo through the ages. The world would never forget her dramatic entrance, a testament to her unwavering ambition and cunning. Power, once seemingly lost, was now once again firmly within her grasp. The fate of Egypt hung precariously in the balance, teetering on the edge of oblivion. But Cleopatra, with her unwavering resolve and strategic brilliance, was ready to seize it and secure her place in history. Cleopatra was more than a queen. She was a scholar, fluent in 9 languages, and a master of diplomacy. Her intellect allowed her to negotiate directly with foreign powers, building alliances and outmaneuvering rivals. She embraced Egyptian religion, presenting herself as the goddess Isis, and won the loyalty of her people. Behind palace walls, she was a shrewd administrator, reforming Egypt's economy and managing its vital grain trade. Cleopatra surrounded herself with scholars, continuing Alexandria's tradition as a center of learning. She wrote on medicine and science, understanding that knowledge was power. To Egyptians, she was a goddess. To Greeks, an enlightened queen. To Romans, a formidable rival. Her ability to move between worlds made her unique and dangerous. Cleopatra's genius was her greatest weapon. It would help her survive in a world ruled by men. Cleopatra's daring entrance to Caesar's chambers was a calculated risk, a gamble for power and survival. Emerging from a carpet, a theatrical display designed to bypass guards and capture Caesar's attention captivated the Roman general. It was an entrance unlike any he had witnessed before, a testament to Cleopatra's cunning and flair for the dramatic. She met him as an equal, engaging him intellectually and arguing her case in Greek, the language of diplomacy and philosophy. This wasn't a plea for mercy, but a strategic negotiation. She presented herself not just as a queen, but as a visionary leader, offering a vision of a stable, prosperous Egypt that could be a valuable ally to Rome. She painted a picture of mutual benefit and lasting peace. Caesar was charmed by her wit, her intelligence, and her audacity. He recognized in her a kindred spirit, a ruler with ambition and a sharp mind. Cleopatra, in turn, saw in him a powerful protector, a means to secure her throne and ensure the survival of her dynasty. He was the key to unlocking Egypt's future. Their alliance quickly became personal, blurring the lines between political strategy and genuine affection. This bond was instrumental in securing her throne and giving Caesar control over Egypt's vast wealth and strategic resources. Ptolemy XIII's advisors, realizing they'd lost Caesar's favor and control over the kingdom, launched a desperate attack, sparking the Alexandrian War. Caesar and Cleopatra, now allies in a very real sense, found themselves besieged in the palace, their fate hanging in the balance. They fought fiercely, displaying courage and resilience, until Roman reinforcements finally arrived, turning the tide of the conflict. Ptolemy XIII, in a last-ditch effort to escape, drowned fleeing the city, leaving Cleopatra as the undisputed ruler. Cleopatra's rule was now undeniably secured by Roman arms and solidified by her increasingly intimate bond with Caesar. The Queen had reclaimed her throne, emerging victorious from a period of intense turmoil and political intrigue. But this victory came at a price. Egypt was now inextricably tied to Rome's fate, its future intertwined with the ambitions of the Roman Republic. Cleopatra's next challenge was clear: to transform this alliance, born of necessity and circumstance, into a source of lasting power and influence for Egypt. The world watched with bated breath as this new and unlikely partnership was forged, reshaping the political landscape of the Mediterranean. Cleopatra's legend grew with each passing day, and so too did her ambitions, fueled by her experiences and her unwavering belief in Egypt's destiny. She was no longer just a survivor, clinging to power by any means necessary. She was a ruler in her own right, a force to be reckoned with on the world stage. The complex and dangerous game of empires had a new and formidable player, one who understood the rules and was determined to win. Cleopatra, ever the strategist, was already planning her next move, carefully considering the pieces on the board and anticipating her opponent's actions. With her brother gone, Cleopatra ruled Egypt, her power backed by Caesar's legions. Their relationship deepened, symbolized by a grand cruise down the Nile, blending pleasure and political theatre. For Cleopatra, Caesar's support meant security and the chance to restore Egypt's prosperity. For Caesar, Egypt's grain and gold fueled his ambitions in Rome. Their union produced a son, Caesarion, a living link between Rome and Egypt. Cleopatra's presence in Rome caused a sensation, unsettling the conservative elite. Caesar honored her with a statue in the Temple of Venus, but their alliance made powerful enemies. Cleopatra's ambition was clear. She wanted her dynasty at the heart of the Roman world. But Rome was a city of intrigue, and danger was never far away. The Queen's power was growing, but so was the opposition. Cleopatra's next test would come with Caesar's death. The stakes had never been higher. The fate of Egypt and her son hung in the balance. Caesar's assassination left Cleopatra vulnerable, but she quickly adapted to Rome's new power struggle. Mark Antony, now master of the East, summoned her to Tarsus. Cleopatra arrived in a golden barge, dressed as Venus, dazzling Antony and the city. Their meeting became legend. What began as politics turned into a passionate alliance. Antony was captivated by Cleopatra's wit and intelligence. She saw in him a new protector. Together, they spent a winter in Alexandria, indulging in luxury and forging a powerful partnership. Beneath the revelry, they built a military and political alliance to challenge Rome's dominance. Cleopatra's charm and ambition matched Antony's own. Their union was more than romance. It was a bid for empire. The world would soon feel the impact of their alliance. Cleopatra was once again at the center of history. The stakes were higher than ever. Antony and Cleopatra dreamed of a new empire in the east, with Alexandria as its capital. Antony adopted Eastern customs, while Cleopatra provided ships, grain and gold. He recognized Caesarion as Caesar's true heir, challenging Octavian in Rome. Their children were granted vast territories, and a lavish ceremony in Alexandria declared their imperial ambitions. But in Rome, Octavian used this to paint Antony as a traitor bewitched by a foreign queen. The Senate declared war, not on Antony but on Cleopatra. The stage was set for a final epic confrontation. Cleopatra's dream of empire was now a direct threat to Rome. The fate of the ancient world would be decided by war. Cleopatra and Antony prepared for the ultimate test. The decisive battle came at Actium, where Antony and Cleopatra's massive fleet faced Octavian's agile navy. Disease and blockade weakened Antony's forces, while Agrippa's tactics outmaneuvered them. In the chaos, Cleopatra's ship suddenly broke away, fleeing toward Egypt. Antony, torn between love and duty, abandoned the battle to follow her. Leaderless, his fleet collapsed. Most ships destroyed or surrendered. The dream of an Eastern empire was shattered. Antony and Cleopatra escaped to Alexandria, but hope was gone. They prepared for the end, their world reduced to despair and defiance. The final act of their tragic story was about to begin. The queen who had defied empires now faced her greatest trial. Cleopatra's legend would be forged in defeat. Octavian's legions entered Egypt. Antony, believing Cleopatra dead, took his own life. Cleopatra, captured and facing humiliation in Rome, chose her own fate. According to legend, she used an asp, symbol of royalty, to end her life, denying Octavian his triumph. Her death marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty and Egypt's independence. Caesarion was executed. Egypt became a Roman province. Cleopatra's story did not end with her death. Roman poets and historians made her a symbol of seduction and danger. But over centuries, she became an icon of power, intelligence, and female strength. Cleopatra fought for her kingdom with every tool at her disposal. She lost her throne but gained immortality. The last queen of the Nile became a legend no conqueror could erase. Her life and death echo through history. Cleopatra's legacy endures, forever queen, forever unforgettable.